Hi, welcome back to my channel, and this is a sound off on Porsha's Family Matters. So we're back at the dinner, and Lauren is going off. She's letting these people have it. She done told y'all she don't care about no robe. She don't want to hear the word. They all getting on my nerves at this point, because Lauren, you started it. You should have told Dennis straight up, no, I'm not sneaking your robe back. Or like you fed into the drama, and now because you're in front of everyone, including Lena, now you want to act like you're above the drama, but you were partaking in it. You snuck into that woman's house and took the robe. You are just as silly as the rest of them. The spiritual advisor, she tries to mediate and tries to calm everyone down. And she's like, silence is the most effective way of communication. And if you're not holding this stick, then you cannot use your throat chakras. And I was just like, okay. Aunt Liz was like, yeah, this lady is lost in black folks' business. What is she doing here? She's in over her head. I just say so. So, you know, I like me some Aunt Liz. Aunt Liz, she ain't playing no game. She cuts right to the chase. And she was just like, you know, I'm not even sure why I'm on this trip anymore. Because you said this is supposed to be family retreat. And she looks directly at Dom and she was like, you're not my family. I don't know who you are. And so Porsha was like, well, me and Lauren are really close and we have our own circle of friends. And Dom is Lauren's best friend, so he became my best friend because he's been working for me. Liz don't care nothing about that. Liz don't care nothing about that. She was like, look, bruh, you not my family. I don't know you. What you doing here? What am I doing here? And Liz is right. I mean, at this point, let's just be real here, okay? Porsha just brought all these people together and she's just hoping something sticks. And what ended up sticking was Aunt Liz, Dennis, Londi. They're the stars of the show. So Porsha's Aunt Darlene, she takes over. She takes the stick and she decides to, you know, speak her intentions. And I don't know if this lady was serious or if she was just... I don't know what was going on with Porsha's Aunt Darlene, but that lady is a mess. She takes the floor, she takes the stick, and she's like, you know, during this last couple of months, I found out who I really was. So I'm like, oh, okay, she about to tell us something. This lady gonna tell us she has realized that she has beautiful feet. How everybody sat there with a straight face is beyond me because I was over here in pain. I was laughing so hard. What? She says, I have found out that I have beautiful feet. And growing up, they told me my feet look like the Incredible Hulk, like Fred Flintstone. I was like, why is she talking about her feet beautiful? Then it's gonna be like trying to see what her feet look like. She decides to say, you know, she has a daughter. And I know her daughter was like, bitch, after you just made this embarrassing moment for yourself, you're going to tell everybody that I'm your daughter. So she was like, I have a daughter and we're not that close and yada, yada, yada. And she was just like, I just want to be closer to her. Dennis gets up and he gives her a hug. And I was just like, wow, like, the rest of them know she's full of shit, so nobody else gave her a hug. I don't know, but it was just weird. So Dennis is like, you know, I think Storm should go next. Storm is like saying the same thing, you know, I just want to like see. She has such a chip on her shoulder. It's like, girl, if you have some, like, say what you have to say. Say what you have to say because the rest of us, we're not, like, we get that you don't like Dennis, but we're a little lost. Like, you got something to say, just say what you have to say. But she's talking in riddles about how, you know, people got a problem with me. And she's sounding ridiculous. Dennis chimes in and they're like, no, Dennis, you can't speak. You don't have the stick. You cannot speak. So she finishes her point, but it didn't land. Dennis takes the stick and Dennis is talking about, well, I'm here for co-parenting. You know, I need to be able to get along great with Simon because Pilar has to be priority. As he's continuing to speak, Storm chimes in and she's just throwing all these digs but it's a lot. It's a lot. And we don't really get it. If Dennis fired you or you decided to quit working for Dennis, like, we need to know the real story. It needs to be laid out because I'm tired of reading in between the lines. Y'all getting on my nerves. Dennis and Storm start to have a back and forth. No one is telling Storm to be quiet or let Dennis talk. He has the floor. He has the stick. Let him speak. No one is saying that. So Dennis is like, you know what? Forget this. I'm out of here. And so he's like, I'm gone. He gets up from the table and she's like, bye. And he was like, shut the fuck up. And everybody's like, Dennis, you can't say that to her. That's a young girl. When she was addressing him, y'all didn't say, girl, you're young and he's a grown man. So when he tells her to shut the fuck up, I don't understand. What's the problem? He's here. So Dennis is like, you know what, bye. He gets up, he's leaving, and Lauren, she goes trying to talk to him or whatever. And Mama Gina was like, what, you leaving? Let me go in there. And he's like, no, he snaps on Mama Gina. He was like, no, we going. I'm glad that Dennis got her out of there. She didn't even get a chance to really say nothing, but they still mad at Mama Gina. Blondie, she goes and evicts assistant Lauren from her room and say, Dennis is taking this room, pack up your stuff, you gotta go. And Sister Lauren is like, why? Why does he need to get his own room? And it's just like, Lauren, you gonna get on my nerves. Because I already didn't like how you flipped the script in front of Lena. And I don't like how you keep trying to micromanage Dennis. You cannot put Dennis on ice so that your sister can come back to him when Simon does her wrong. Because that's what you're doing. So back in the room, Simon and Porsha are having a conversation. And Portia's like, ooh, I didn't expect things to get the way that they are, to go the way that they did. And Simon is like, well, I did. And she was like, you did? He starts talking about how Mama Gina is a problem and that Dennis needs to tell Mama Gina, stay the fuck out of our business. He goes on to say, I believe in military orders. Anytime there's an issue, he's laughing. At the cookout, when they were grilling Dennis, he was laughing, he was smirking. At the dinner, he did the same thing. He loves it because if they're grilling Dennis, no one can get to the bottom of his bullshit. They too busy looking at Dennis's flaws and all the mistakes that he made to pay attention to Simon. And it's like, for why? Porsha, you're not even with Dennis. What does it even matter anymore, right? I've noticed that every time something happens, Simon is sitting back laughing. He has this evil smirk on his face, very much like Ashley Darby's. Y'all make Geminis look so fucking bad. But anyways, every single time, he's always like, he has like this grin on his face, like, I'm getting away with something. And so I noticed it at the cookout and I've noticed it on this trip. Why isn't Simon getting mad? Because clearly Portia's still into Dennis and she's jealous. He's not mad because he's making a play, because this is a con man. I don't care. Nobody says he ain't up to no good. He has already learned that Porsha hates Mama Gina, that she will blame Mama Gina for every single thing. So he's just going to fall in line. Oh, let me blame Mama Gina too. Let me talk some shit about Mama Gina too. Now she's happy because I'm in solidarity with her. Like, yeah, we both, Mama Gina is the problem. Simon is not, he's not bothered by this display of emotions that Porsha has for Dennis and Mama Gina at all. That should tell you that he really don't care about you, Porsha, but whatever, girl. You keep sitting up there thinking that you got this man, girl. Okay. So it's the next morning and Simon and Dennis have breakfast together and they're talking, and Mr. Duplicitous is talking to Dennis and he's being real diplomatic, and he's saying how, you know, you need to talk to Mama Gina because there's going to come a time where if a mother is too overbearing, she's going to push her son away. That ain't how you was talking to Porsha about Mama Gina the night before. Now, was it? See, I don't like Simon. What happened to Mama Gina needs to stay the F out of our business? What happened to that? Why you didn't tell Dennis that? Because you fake? Because you're phony? He fake as hell. Like, when you were talking to Porsha about it, it was like, Mama Gina, da, 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 da. You had all this smoke from Mama Gina. But now when you're face to face with this man talking about his mother, you're choosing to be very politically correct, very diplomatic, very fair, very even tone. And it's a bunch of bullshit. Because you really don't care about Mama Gina. You just know that it's going to win you more favor with Porsha. And Dennis, you fell for it, talking about, oh, I told my mom she got to stay out of our business. What happens between Porsha and I is between Porsha and I. Yeah, I agree with that, but you don't say that to this man. Because let me tell y'all, if y'all don't know, Simon is just building his case. At some point, all the little information that he's gathering during this trip and even before this trip, he will one day come back and throw it in everybody's face. I promise you it's gonna start with Dennis. Dennis, everything bad Porsha ever said about Dennis, he's going to come back and throw it in all of their faces. Mark my words. And Porsha think it's cute to keep berating Dennis and Mama Gina. And she better hope that she's never in a situation where she needs Dennis to come and rescue her. That's why he's not bothered. Because what man, how are you her fiance? And she's sitting up there having an outer body experience because this man wants to bring around a date. You should not like that. But Simon, if you notice, like I said, Simon is always sitting back smiling. It will not end well. You saw Fallon walk away from this beautiful lifestyle that you wanted so bad for yourself. And it doesn't occur to you, Porsha, why would someone do that? If he's this great man, why would you cheat on such a great man who's giving you so much? Why would you cheat on a man who you guys were so intertwined and y'all have this family? Why would Fallon walk away from this? The moment that Porsha and Simon start to have an issue, he's going to throw it in her face. Oh, what, you want to go back to your cheating baby daddy that cheated on you when you was pregnant? Porsha, you're going to regret a lot of this stuff that you're doing. And I'm not wishing bad on Porsha and Simon. If they want to be together, I mean, I don't wish nobody bad. That don't do nothing for my life. But I'm telling you, the writings are on the wall. Why would Fallon have this perfect man like Aunt Darlene called him and she cheat on him and she leave? She left with lunch money. Why would she leave all of that behind for Jalen? So Dennis let Simon know, I invited someone to be brought a date to this trip. So I hope you can let Porsha know this because it really shouldn't be a problem. And Simon was like, oh yeah, no problem. I'm gonna tell her. But we're gonna find out later on in the episode, he didn't tell her nothing because Lauren ended up telling Porsha and she was caught off guard. She was pissed off. Girl, this your man, girl, right? This is your man. After breakfast, Dennis leaves and he meets up with Lauren and the rest of the group for meditation. And Porsha isn't there. And so Lauren is like pissed off. She's like, this is supposed to be blending her families and she's not even here to be a part of it. And this is like what I was saying in a couple of episodes ago. Lauren, this whole spiritual enlightenment, it means a little bit more to you. It means a lot more to you than it means to everyone else. You be trying to bring Porsha along on your endeavors and Porsha is not interested. She's just not. You are so passionate about this and the rest of your family doesn't share your passion. Like they're going along with certain things, but they're not into it the way that you're into it. Everybody's getting on the bus. They're going over to a cenote and for a spiritual cleanse. And while they're on the bus driving over there, Aunt Liz asked Simon, like, when are we going to get to meet the women in your family? And Simon is like, but see, Aunt Liz ain't no fool. Aunt Liz, that's the elder that you want around you. Because she sees the bullshit coming a mile away. And she asked a really good question. Because if you're supposed to be blending the families, we should be meeting Simon's sisters and cousins and aunties and whoever his tribe is, we're supposed to meet them. So when they get to the cenote, there's someone there to greet them and tell them a little bit of the history of it. And the cenote is pretty much a natural sinkhole that exposes groundwater. He said how much it was, how deep it was in meters. And I think it was Dennis that was like, well, what is that? How many feet is that? Production put on the bottom of the screen that it was 212 feet deep. He starts explaining how it's a sacred ground, how so many people, their lives were sacrificed there, and there was a lot of body part. That's where he kind of started to lose me. I was like, wait a minute, what? So pretty much this is like a graveyard. I don't mean no disrespect. I don't mean no disrespect, but me and my 2 feet, I would have got back on the bus. So the group proceeds, and they're like over like a cliff or some sort, and Lena is guiding them, and Lena is asking everybody once again, what are their intentions? And see, this is where I have to agree with Aunt Liz. Like, it seems like maybe they're not showing everything, but it seems like every time they gather, she asks what are their intentions, and I don't see the work. Like, I don't see how this is helping anyone. Like, voicing your intentions out loud, that's great. They need more than just that. You saw how these people cut up at that dinner? I think they need more than just that in order to heal. I ain't gonna tell the lady how to do her job, but I'm starting to understand where Aunt Liz is coming from. The main attraction of this cenote situation was Porsha's Aunt Darlene. Aunt Darlene is speaking, and she's like, I wasn't always a good mother. I was more focused on my business, and things have happened between me and my daughter, and I really want to mend them. It's like, my daughter doesn't hug me. And then Storm is like, well, you know, I'm not a hugger. And it was like, girl, that's your mama. Go hug your mama. So Storm was like, okay, I'll give her a hug. Storm barely gets to embrace her mom. She barely taps her. And she's like, ah! She starts screaming. I was like, oh my God, it's one of the spirits. The spirits done got her. One of the spirits done got her. But it wasn't no spirit. The lady just cuckoo. She was screaming and carrying on. Now, we've seen this in the previews. That's not how I thought. Like, when we saw the previews, this is not what I thought was going to happen. That lady started to lose her shit screaming. You didn't even, for half a hug? Oh, no. I thought it was one of the spirits that was sacrificed at the cenote or something like that that had possessed this woman. The lady, the way she was carrying on, and it turns out the lady just loony. The lady she's just different. She's special. When I said, like, everybody was just sitting around like, poor Dom. Dom didn't say a word this whole episode. He just was giving facial expressions. There's no way. There's no way I would have been able to sit there and not laugh. Like, I don't know how these people were sitting there and they had a straight... the way I would have been laughing, the way I wouldn't have cared, the way I would have been laughing... Well, I wouldn't have been laughing because my ass would have been in the bus waiting on them. I would have been on the bus with the doors locked. That's what I would have been doing. I originally thought, when I saw the preview, I thought maybe they're doing like a yelling exercise, like, you know... I didn't know that she got the Holy Ghost because her daughter gave her half a hug. But anyways, Aunt Liz is explaining how she is haunted by the ghosts from the civil rights movement. That was kind of heavy. And she was just explaining how, because of, you know, who her father was and all the things that she witnessed from a young age, it's weighing really heavy on her to this day. And she was crying, and she was just like, she just wants to let go of that. And I was just like, oh, you know, that was a moment right there. Oh, Dennis is explaining how, you know, he's realized what's really important. He was at the pool earlier with PJ, and PJ was just so happy and so excited. And he said he realized, like, what's important, what, you know, to just let go of dumb stuff. And I felt that, you know. He said, we need to be here to co-parent, and that's what's important. And I was like, okay, I mean, that was the whole purpose of this, right? Mama Gina also says how, you know, she wants to let go of, you know, the negativity. She wants to be forgiven for things that she might have done to hurt, you know, people. And when Porsha gets the stick, Porsha pretty much ain't here for nothing. And it's just like, girl, then what was the point? You got all these people together, and you're like the main one who brought everyone together, and you want to be mad about what exactly? So Aunt Liz says while Porsha was speaking, she noticed how Lauren kind of just, you know, Lauren felt away. She was like, you feel away, you feel something towards Porsha, you need to speak on it. And so Lauren pretty much was just saying, you know, I'm ready to move forward. There have been a lot of times that Porsha has made me feel undervalued. That is why I don't work for her anymore. And Porsha can't receive that. And it's like, it's funny how you mad at Mama Gina, you mad at Dennis, you mad at all these people, but you don't want to receive that you also are, you have hurt people too. I've had a blind spot to a lot of Porsha's fuck shit. I just have. I've liked, it's her first season. Like, I liked her. I've ignored her goofiness, her ditziness, her being dumb. I've ignored a lot of stuff when it comes to Porsha. But this thing that I'm not going to be able to get past is her selfishness. She's shown it in the past. And like I said, I've had a blind spot. But on this show, I guess on the ensemble cast, you could overlook your faves' shortcomings and their problematic behavior. But girl, you on the show. This is your show. And girl, and all your flaws are just on full display, and it's not a good look. Why can't you just accept that you're not a perfect person? The same way that people hurt you, you've hurt others. Why you can't accept that? Because she goes into her confessionals and talking about, well, you know, Lauren wasn't happy where she was in life, and I'm the bad guy. You're not perfect. No one is. Why can't you just accept that? Yeah, you've probably hurt your sister along the way. Yeah, your sister's been living in your shadow. Your sister has dedicated a big chunk of her life to making sure that you're good, to looking out for you, to protecting you. You weren't always appreciative of that. That don't mean you a bad guy. That just means that we're human and we have flaws. Ignoring her feelings is what's making you look like the bad guy. So after everyone has said and spoken their piece, they finalized everything by jumping into the cenote. They said that thing was 212 feet deep. Yeah, I'm good on that. But, you know, they jumped in there. They look like, you know, it was a fun time. It's dinner time and everyone has gathered. Dennis is not there. Like he said earlier, he had some work meeting him there. Bravo shows, like they were spying on Dennis. They had the cameras from far away and they was looking at Dennis and his work. Her name is Erica. So I don't know if he knew they were being filmed. It really looked like it looked like the camera crew were being sneaky. I don't know. Lauren pulls Porsha away to let her know that Dennis did indeed bring someone onto this trip. And while they're having the conversation, Mama Gina's at the table and they're like, where's Dennis? And she's like, oh, well, he had a friend come over that was in Mexico already, so they were linking up and he's gonna have dinner with her. And so it cuts back to Porsha and Lauren, and Porsha has this look on her face and she was just like, well, you know what? I'm just dealing with this man and his toxic mama. And I know a lot of people have issues with the guy's mama. So they project that onto this whole situation with Mama Gina and Porsha. But my thing is, why does Porsha always want to blame Mama Gina for what Dennis does? Dennis is a grown man. Dennis is single. You are here on a trip with your fiance who is still married. You were engaged to Dennis and you were pregnant. Do you think that Mama Gina recruited the girls for him to cheat with? Do you feel like Mama Gina was right there undressing them and say, y'all go have yourself a good old time? Why do you keep blaming Mama Gina for the things that Dennis did to you? When you, like, we really need, as women, we really need to take accountability of the stuff that we allow to happen to us. You know, it's not your fault that Dennis cheated on you, right? But several people tried to warn you, Porsha, of what kind of man Dennis was. And you didn't want to hear nothing from no one. Mama Gina told you the first time she met you, oh, I didn't know my son was serious about anyone because he's never brought anyone around me. You chose to take from that what you wanted to. You didn't want to hear, yo, my son is a player. My son likes a lot of women. You didn't want to hear that part. You, in your mind, you heard, oh, he gonna treat me different. I'm different. I'm better than the rest of these girls. Take accountability for some of the shit that you've caused to yourself. It's not your fault this man cheated on you, but you jumped into a relationship head first where many people tried to warn you on what type of man this guy is. And you didn't care. And now the shit has gone left. You want to blame his mom? Miss Gina said on Real Housewives of Atlanta that she got on Dennis for what he did to you. But you want to witness a show, a performance. And she doesn't have to give that to you. See, when Mama Gina was trying to give you advice and trying to talk, disregard everything that woman had to say to you. You didn't want to hear nothing she had to say. And then now, because Dennis and you are no longer on a good spot, you want her to be on your team. You want her to be a yes man. And it doesn't work like that. The same way you have your family surrounding you and loving on you is the same way Mama Gina is going to go as hard for her child. You're not always right, but your mom is always on your side. Why do you expect Dennis's mom to do any different for him? Your people are on your side 100%. They are always riding for you, and as they should. Why do you think Mama Gina is going to do any different when it comes to her child that she birthed and she raised? When she was trying to give you advice, she was telling you, girl, before this baby comes, hey, y'all, small little ceremony, go get married. You don't want to be a baby mama, do you? Do you want to be a wife or a baby mama? Now, a lot of us, you know, new age women, we was like, you don't talk to her like that. But what ended up happening? There was no wedding because you wanted a huge wedding and Dennis did not want a huge wedding. What ended up happening? The same man that cheated on you and violated you the way that he did, you was begging him for his ring last Christmas. So if you knew you loved this man that much, your ass probably should have just married him like Mama Gina said while you were still pregnant before the baby came. The way that Simon is allowing things to go, girl, don't get used to that. Because you marrying an African man, you think his mama or the women in his family are going to curse him out if he cheats on you? Is that what you think? If you think that you a whole fool, if you think that anybody on Simon's side of the family is going to have your back if this man cheats on you, I promise you, you're not working with a full deck of cards. You are literally jumping out of a frying pan into the fire. That's what this whole thing is. This is what makes this whole thing insane. You left Dennis because he cheated on you. And you got with Simon, someone who's been married multiple times. Someone who has admitted that he's been a cheater in the past. Someone who is currently married while he's engaged to you. You think that this is the formula that's going to serve you. You think that this is going to end well. You crazy as hell. Might as well get back together with Dennis. Because if you think what happened with you and Dennis was toxic, girl, I do not wish Porsha bad. I do not want to see this implode in her face. But girl, just look at how this man treated Fallon. I don't know, Porsha. It's just like, girl, you really mad at Dennis for cheating on you. But you're going to get with a man who is still married. And was at the time when y'all were filming this show, he was publicly bashing his wife to uplift you. One of his little girlfriend's side chicks came forth with the receipts that showed he technically was messing with her while he was messing with you. But you're mad at Dennis for cheating? You're a Porsha girl. You got to make this make some type of sense, girl. So while at the dinner, Storm takes this opportunity to share with the group about how she was in an abusive relationship where her girlfriend assaulted her really bad. I already knew about this because I saw the post on Instagram when it happened. And while she was saying this, Londi chimes in like, you know, yesterday at the dinner, you stood up and got aggressive with me. And so, of course, Storm was like, oh, so you're trying to use my situation to kind of take a jab at me. And see, I don't know what Londi's intentions were, but Porsha got upset. Porsha kind of bit her head off and was like, don't do that. She's trying to tell her story. I didn't feel like it was all that genuine. It really seemed like a rehearsed scene. It really seemed like Porsha was being producer. I don't know if she's one of the producers or not, but it really seemed like she produced that scene. It came out of left field. Why didn't she share that at the cenote? Why didn't she share this before? It just kind of seemed like Porsha kind of prompted her before the dinner, like, girl, this is what you need to do. And then when Londi interrupted, it annoyed Porsha because it kind of ruined what she had planned. That's what it seemed like to me. I don't know. I remember when that shit happened. Storm posted the pictures on IG of what the girlfriend did to her. And I remember Lauren and Porsha were real upset about the situation. And I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but at the time, season 5 of Potomac had wrapped. And Porsha was on Bravo chat room talking a lot of noise. She was saying how Candace should have known better than to try Monique when Monique was angry. She should have known better. That's why she got popped. She needs to get over it. And it was just weird because right after she said that on Barbara's chat room about Candace, not too long after, your cousin gets assaulted. And we see that she has similar, you know, we see her popping off on people. We see her standing up and lunging at people. But when it was someone else, it was, well, she should have known better. She shouldn't have tried Monique when Monique was upset. I bet you don't feel that way about your cousin getting assaulted. I bet you don't feel that way now. So even though Londi was wrong to interrupt Storm or try to throw a jab at Storm while she was expressing something that was very traumatic that happened to her, I kind of wanted to see that play out, because while this was going on, Porsha's assistant Lauren and her sister Lauren were both talking about the situation. Like, oh, well, if you're traumatized by your girlfriend assaulting you, why would you now provoke someone into an altercation? And Porsha got upset and she started going off on all of them. And it was like another situation. I wanted to hear everyone's take on that, because Porsha, you went on public television and you pretty much echoed your cousin's sentiments that Candace deserved what happened to her. And very shortly after, a similar situation happened to your cousin. I don't know if they're going to resume that conversation for the next episode, because it happened towards the end. I don't think that they did, but I really would have wanted to hear them have that conversation, because it was like, yeah, it was good for someone else, but when it was your family, when it was someone that you cared and loved about, it shouldn't have gone down. It should have happened differently. Women, especially in relationships, provoke their partners. They curse their partners out. They jump in their face. They put their hands in their face. Be wrong if your partner assaulted you. It's also wrong if your friend assaults you. Isn't it the same thing? Why is it different? I mean, it should never be okay, right? It should never be okay. You're in a relationship with someone, whether it's your friend, whether it's your girlfriend, whoever it is. If you guys are talking, if you're using your words, why would it be okay for it to turn into an altercation, a physical altercation? But anyways, I've been talking about this enough. That's my sound off for Porsha's Family Matter. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.